I knew he was going to try to catch it.
Right.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Laser Source Podcast, the #1 podcast if you like listening to sick people serenade you with their deep voices.
Hi.
Hi. I'm pretty ill today, but I didn't want to get accused of having violent diarrhea, so I showed up.
So I'm shitting in my chair right now instead.
Yeah, you know, I'd rather not do that. My stream is playing on my desktop, so I need to go do that. Matt, why don't you tell the guys about our sponsor?
Who's our sponsor? Is it Johnson Plastics Plus? If it is, welcome. And thank you for being our sponsor, guys. Pretty much one of the best places you can go to get all kinds of really cool things, including everyday items, like some of these guys right here. Wow. Fit for coasters, for plastics, dual layer plastics, all kinds of things that you can go. And if we had a code, Anthony, do you remember it?
YLR-ZDF.
Yeah, I sure do. So YLR-ZDF is our code right now. You can see Kyle's got a really cool, I think that's a
or if you
box
like
code.
knives like this, yeah.
And if that code doesn't work, check the description because it might change.
Yeah, as it might change. So
Did you guys tell them about the sick unboxing that Rhiannon and I did?
I didn't mention the boxing because you were there. Oh wait, you?
There are like 30 items. Good reading, Anthony. Yeah, we unboxed like 4 boxes of really cool Johnson Plastics Plus stuff. It's there to tide you over until we get our specialty episodes out, which will cover each material that was included in that little goodie drop in vigorous detail, including bamboo. We mentioned pretty much every week now.
Stick bamboo chopping block.
Some more of these really cool colored woods.
Yep, we got some color shop woods in there. We got more of that glitter acrylic. If you haven't seen the unboxing already, and if you're here live, you probably have. But if you're listening to this after the fact, you haven't seen that unboxing video, go check it out because it's a really good time. That said, you like that? Vigorous. It's a word of the day. That's my word of the day calendar, but every day I tear it off. It just says vigorous.
He rips off 6 days.
Yeah, I'm like 20 days in. It's just vigorous again.
You know what else was vigorous? My CO2 galvo laser that you talked shit about last week.
Yeah, your CO2 galvo laser sucks.
Look at that beautiful burn.
My CO2 galvo laser sucks. Everybody's CO2 galvo laser sucks.
Garbage. For these nice chunky engraves like this, it's the best. Just saying. Super fast.
Your mom's a chunky engrave, dude.
Congratulations, Rosie. Alex shit himself.
It's a nice burn, I'll give you that. But what is that fucking alder? Alder looks nice on anything.
Alder? That is oh my gosh, I know what it's called. It's one of the spruces or something like that. It's really nice.
Spruce?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
What the fuck he's talking about.
I'll tell you. It's what they make propellers out of.
Aspen? Poplar. That's a very popular
popular
selection.
Matt's like, this is a high quality balsa, okay?
They make model rockets out of it.
It's amazing, the quality.
Kyle, I see your video is like a really nice 60 frames per second today. And I can see you. You're smiling. You look good. You got like a glow.
I have a sunburn is what I have.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's called pigment.
Sorry, I mistook you for alive.
I'm alive, but I'm sunburnt. That's what moving boxes in the daylight will do to you. And also Easter, spending most of the day outside. So
nice.
Good time.
Yeah. I see you got a chunky thing behind you there too.
I do.
Floovers.
Do we say how to chat yet?
No. We've not. We got a lot of people hanging out.
Yeah, Smoke Show was first.
Smoke Show, what up, buddy?
Smoke Show.
Yep. We got Laura. What's up, Laura? Bronson. Anthony's hanging out in chat as well as hanging out with us.
Oh, yeah.
Todd Wilkinson was up at the top. We missed Todd. You know what I think of every time I hear the name Wilkinson? That's not Slugworth. That's Mr. Wilkinson. He works for me. That's Willy Wonka, dude. Anyway, continue.
You get nothing. Good day, sir. We got Rob. We got Lynch. We got Great Lakes Laser Supply, Mike C. Miranda. That sounds like a familiar name.
I don't know.
Vigorous.
We got some questions lining up. So yeah, guys, we're doing some Q&As. So if you got questions that you've been saving up since last week, get them in chat so we can get them in line. Yeah.
I am super amped to do a Q&A this week because I was super amped to see how much people really enjoyed your training that you did, Kyle, with the golf club. I'm super glad.
It was fun.
I was like not gonna ask that guy if we could do that, and Rhiannon was like, "Yeah, I don't know," and I was like, "Just send it. Like, we'll see what happens. If he says yes, we'll see what we can do with it." And even when the edit was done, I was kind of like, I don't know. It'll be content that goes up. She's gone for a whole nother week this week. She's gonna be gone again. So I wanted to throw something up. There goes my camera. I wanted to throw something up before she left for another week, and we kind of tossed it out there, and people like flipped over it. People were hungry for that, which I didn't know. So, I mean, we do trainings fairly regularly. That's something we can do pretty consistently if you guys enjoyed it. But you did a really good job on that training, Kyle. I just wanted to say.
It was a really good time. It was a very enjoyable training, actually. Got to kind of jam out and cover a good variety of topics, even though it was kind of focused on deep engraving. So,
yeah. And Max was a very absorbent client. He took just like everything you said, and he just like soaked it right up, which was great too. Made teaching very easy.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very rewarding coaching session.
For sure. What was on your mind, Matt? You looked like you had something.
Nope. I was just asking how deep.
Oh, super.
He said so deep. Because I think I know I looked at that video, that really was a cool video. If you guys don't know, it's literally Q&A, like rapid fire in your face, Uzi shooting off. And then one of the things literally was, I think they were doing like 1,000 passes or something like that initially or something.
I think it was 6K, dude.
That's insane. Like I heard 1,000 because I was trying to do like 2 or 3 things, and I had that over on like this monitor over here. Yeah. And it was like when I heard 1,000, I stopped what I was doing and was like, what's that now?
Yeah, I wasn't like actively training anybody. I was just kind of listening. Rhiannon was kind of doing the note-taking dealio, and Kyle was doing kind of the main teach. But yeah, Max was doing 6,000, if I recall correctly, to get to the depth he wanted.
So this is one of those things too,
with the original settings he had.
Yeah. And we've talked about trainings and cost of operations and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where we've said, like, when people are charging like $100, $50, $200, whatever the price is, when you look at time spent doing a project and how much you're making in that time versus if you can change the process and do that time in a fraction, like that job in a fraction of the time, your ROI, your return on investment, is going to be well worth it. So if you spend 200, but what took you 3 hours now takes you 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're still charging that same price. It's wild. So that's one of those things where you have to think about like what it is with your process. And I will say too, having the right questions was probably what made that training so good, because it's one of those things, and Kyle helps you figure those questions out. So it's like, yeah, even if you don't know, that's one of the things I know when I used to do the trainings with you guys last year, or a year ago already. That's what we would do, is say, hey, try to develop some questions ahead of time so we can have a direction. And sometimes just having that direction got you to where you're trying to go. So that $200 might get you a job that now that you've increased your productivity and your output, you can actually say yes to these jobs and get more money. So spend 200 to make 10,000, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is like,
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, the other thing too is when you come prepared with like a full list of questions, and you say you have some that are really relevant to what you want to work on as a main topic, and then you have a bunch that are just Q&A questions that could fill an entire hour or two. if we're doing something on the laser, it's a really great time to just bash through a bunch of questions that you have that we otherwise wouldn't be able to get to unless we had like 7 live streams a week for like 3 weeks to help one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a great time to fill the downtime, as it were, as the laser's doing its thing, which is part of kind of the process of learning the laser and testing stuff out as part of coaching, right? So if
It's
you are going
nice
to do something
being
like
able
that,
to talk to like there was definitely like, and it was Max, your English super good, dude. But Max lived in Germany, and there's an inherent language barrier. It was a low one. It was a low language barrier, but there was a language barrier, and even with that, like the amount of time that Kyle took to just like whip through his questions. I mean, it would have taken like a week on the LMA back and forth with like posts and pictures and screenshots and like test this and report back and try
and then time
this.
differences too.
And like just being able to sit there and talk to a guy whose primary language is German. Like we whipped through that way faster. And so the like density of that was a big contributing factor to the success. And it was successful. The guy was blown away, even with simple things, you know, like, or at least let me rephrase, things that seem simple to us. Like at one point during the training, he asked you, Kyle, how to rotate his workspace so the fucking golf clubs weren't like out into the middle of his hallway. And it took that, like that kind of thing, dude, takes like 2 seconds to answer, especially when we can see your screen. It's so like, it's just boom and it's done. And
it's
those
such
are
a
like
quality of life change too, because now he can walk between the rooms to prep stuff. He's not trying to he doesn't have to worry about not being blocked into a room while a job's running.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is easy for us to answer. And that's why I'm always trying to like make sure people are asking questions they think are stupid or not worthwhile or like too simple, because they're so easy for us to answer and we're more than happy to do it. And it can save you so much headache. So that's why we do these every week, guys. You know, when we don't have special guests on, we try to bring the Q&A to everyone. I know we can't do everything we want to do all the time every single week, but we do try to bring this to you guys. And by you guys, I mean the general public, as often as we can. But if you guys liked that episode, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent here that turned into an ad for laser engraving training. That's not what this is. But if you guys liked that episode, I am happy to do more. I think most of our training clients would be happy to share their experience training with you. Of course, we ask for permission first, right? Everybody who does coaching with us gets a recorded copy. So it's like, why not chop that up and package it up in a way that's easy for you guys to consume for an episode? It just made sense. And so I'd like to do more of those. And I think that our clientele, if you will, would be unopposed to that. So I'm totally willing to do more of that. Yes, Resin, I am sick, but it's with my respiratory tract, not my digestive tract. So I showed up today to prove that, so there weren't any rumors going around. But yeah, so that's
Alex
that.
has throat diarrhea.
It's the end of that. Nope, don't say
he
that.
definitely has hormonal issues. If you didn't catch
I
that,
do.
guys, that's why he's really becoming a man.
Why can't I find anybody to go on a dance date with me?
Hey guys, welcome to the show.
I just want to go rollerblading with the pretty girl from math class.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Brandon's just like packing bags right now. Like, I'm out of here.
It's funny.
Like Cuban just said, just got done rollerblading.
No, my poops are opposite of explosive resin. What's the opposite of explosive?
Implosive.
So
Yeah, they're pretty. I think that's actually pretty apt.
sucking it up through a straw.
If you guys see Alex burp, he's in real pain.
The density of my bowel movements is so high that they actually form like mini black holes
collapsing into itself.
Yeah, you've got a picture of it right there,
Mini
Anthony.
brown
Thank
holes?
you.
All right. Anyways, good
I was
Lord.
about to pull the Spaceballs quote. It went from suck to blow.
We were so on track. We were doing such a good job
We
talking.
were.
No, we
Yeah,
weren't.
it
We
was-
advertised Johnson Plastics Plus, and then we advertised our laser engraving training sessions.
Well, we advertised.
It's been one big ad. It's been a 15-minute ad so far.
Hey guys,
We're-
have you tried
Who
Coca-Cola?
doesn't love some good banter?
Because if you have tried Coca-Cola, it's garbage. Now with me, here's Alex's answer.
Spindrift.
It almost sounded like you said spit and drip.
So good. I'm gonna have another one.
Jesus Christ, you two.
What's your go-to flavor,
Just
buddy?
water. I could have fucking 50 if I want. This is half tea, half lemon, unsweetened.
I've
As
got
he
the
just said,
tea,
it's
half-
just water.
So it's an Arnold Palmer.
Waterloo
It's
spiced mango.
It is a zero sweetness like Arnold Palmer. Yeah, I don't even want to say like it's not just no sugar. Like there's just no sweetening in it at all. It's
I
like,
love Alex
super
right now
bitter.
trying to
Seltzer.
quote any kind of nutrition at all. Like he cares. He's like,
I
it's got a
do
zero.
care. No,
something.
okay. So I've been drinking these for like 3 weeks now, and I've lost like 8 pounds. Fuck
That's
yourself.
because it's a diuretic, and you've been taking these.
Mm.
It's like,
No, it's because I cut my calorie intake by 1,600 calories a day by not drinking 8 Cokes every fucking day.
by the way, if you notice, he cut the Cokes, but not like the 17 cheeseburgers. From
Oh no, dude, no, yeah, I still fuck up cheeseburgers.
No, that's protein, man. You need protein.
I
Yeah,
used
my
to be
heart
like,
needs that.
It used to be like 9:30 in the morning. I'd be like, Alex, what are you doing today? He's like, I got 6 cheeseburgers I gotta eat. We'll get
That's
to
right.
work. He's like, read the emails while we're doing this. The healthy seltzer, all other videos of Alex is eating Burger King, said Buddy Washer.
Yeah, I had kids and changed meds because I have anxiety problems, and then I got fat, so I gotta trade the Coke, and maybe I'll get less fat again. Who knows?
You know what else is fat? The discounts at JP Plus.
pH fat.
Code YLR-ZDF.
All right, no
Dash
more
one.
ads. It's enough ads.
I had to.
What's up with you, Anthony? You don't look like an ad. How's your shop going?
Yeah, it's going. Just doing some disc golf awards this week.
Ooh, tight.
So, yeah, our city has a pretty cool little disc golf course, and they're having their first tournament this year. So the lady, she wanted some of those, we call them tree cookies or whatever you want to call it, like the cross sections of wood where it's like ringed, but those things always dry out and crack. So I tried to dissuade her from doing that. And then we've bounced some ideas back and forth, and I found a design where it's like a wooden disc you cut out and then you just like laser engrave the rings in. So it looks like a
nice.
Frisbee. And then there's space in the middle for like her logo or whatever design she wants, or like, first place or whatever. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing, probably with like poplar or red oak, maybe, but probably poplar, because I don't know if she wants to spend that much money. But yeah, so it'll be pretty cool, and we get those engraved out, and
I like disc golf, dude. Disc golf's rad.
it's cool.
You know what I like about it? They're like real parks instead of like a golf course where it's just like fields. I feel like disc golf is like waterfalls and fucking like giant rocks and trees and shit.
Here it's a lot different. Out in California, it's like a lot of
Well,
golf
okay.
courses started losing money, so they installed disc golf courses on the golf course.
Mm.
But out here, yeah, it's definitely very
Yeah, it's like all
park
parks
oriented.
here.
Super cool.
Yeah, that's tight.
I haven't been
Good
disc
shit.
golfing in like a decade.
Chris just went. I was pretty jealous, but that no kids life. He's living it.
Right.
What about you, Matt? You got anything going on shop wise or nah?
Yeah. Just
Matt'll be
quickly
right back after this brief pause. He's got to fondle the underside.
working on the lenses here.
Mm.
So
Wait,
still,
you can change lenses?
I tried it once. So yeah, so literally, I just had someone today. I did that. Big. By the way, that is birch. That wood
Birch.
all comes from like that solid birch. It comes from a dumpster. Like so, there's in our town. There's a propeller plant. I'm not kidding you. They make propellers like they're birch that are worth $13,000 or the $1,300 all the way up to $13,000 for these propellers because they make them for like the huge like seaplanes and stuff. They make them big, and there's literally like a wood dumpster that they just get rid of there. So like when you cut this huge beam, there's just pieces where if you've got the right tools, you can just make your own wood, right out of it. So
You
that's
have
what the thing
99
does.
problems and birch ain't one.
Birch ain't one. that was pretty good.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was solid.
That was
But yeah,
pretty
so
good.
she makes stuff out of that, and then she goes and buys, like you guys saw, like heartwood and zebra wood and all kinds of like monkey pot, all that kind of stuff, and does like some really cool things.
Monkey
Really,
pots?
really, yeah,
Hmm.
really good. Good woodworker, really.
I
So
fucked him up. Did you see that? Kicked him
No.
off track for a second. That was good.
I was gonna say blacksmith for some reason. I'm like, why is blacksmith? But yeah, so she's really good. And then the other thing is, this week there is a on Friday there's this thing called the Last Friday event, kind of like Anthony said that his town has had, where they have like some like monthly, parties, basically events. And so the shop that is downtown that I've done a few projects for said, hey, can you make us some stuff? And I said, yeah. So I'm basically making them like 20 items that are kind of like $5 or $6 a piece or less, So that's why I've got some coasters. I've got some bamboo coasters from JP Plus. I've got I'm actually going to make some koozies with the sublimation this week. And I should be making a video with that should be coming out in the next period of time.
Nice.
Just kind of showing you guys, because that's one of those things you can buy so cheap, is just like sublimatable koozies. And the cool thing is you can put pictures on there of like anything. So if you've got people who want their family on there, if you're doing like a beach summer trip, or people are coming down, especially down here in Florida, there's so many people who are coming down here or going on trips like for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts and all that stuff. And everybody wants to know which one is mine. Dude, slap the kid's picture right on there. Pow. Now there's no, or if you're like me and Anthony, we have 75 kids. Like, you just, here's yours. Don't touch your brother's, whatever. And so that's one of those things that's super easy, super quick. They cost like $1. Actually, I think JP Plus, they're a little nicer, so they were like $2.50 or something like that for the blank. Last time I looked. And then you can sell those easily. I mean, probably like $6, $7, $8 a piece if they're in a group of them, right? You could easily sell those for like $10 to $12 singles. So doing those things. And then, gosh, there's a couple more things too, but they're all like coming in. Like one guy just have you guys been getting like a whole lot of rush orders right now this time of year with like trophies?
No,
Not too many, no.
Oh my God. I got today, a guy's like, hey, I need the trophy by Friday. I was like, what? He's like, I don't
Is
even...
that through the schools?
No, that was just a dude he's a
really?
sheriff's deputy, and I
Nice.
think it's for his church or something. But the school district, yes, the track coach reached out to me because I've worked with him before, and he needs the same thing. The nice thing is, it's really great when they have the same order, just different names, because you already know they already know how much it's going to cost. Maybe a few bucks extra this year, because stuff went up. Not too much though. But anyways, so that's everything going on right now. Trying to do all that, and then we joined the Cub Scouts yesterday, and
Yikes.
the people there found out. They're like, "Oh, don't you do the engraving thing?" And I was like, "I do." And they were like, "We'll have to talk to you." And I was like, "You sure will." And in my mind, I'm thinking it ain't gonna be free. So, yeah.
It's gonna
So
be extra.
huh?
I said it'll be extra.
Yeah, right. So that's pretty much it. So lots of little things, and then I really this week want to clean up. It's like I thought I was gonna have the whole weekend last weekend to clean up, but I forgot it was Easter. Oops. So I
have a pretty shameful trash pile in my shop right now. I need to
like
deal
Laura,
with.
I don't know if she was joking. She's like, it always looks so clean and tidy behind you. And I'm like, there's literally like at least 3 instances where fires could burst open back there.
Yeah, also it's a pretty narrow like field of view there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Bunny Washer said, Sheriff's deputy, can you do this now? Yeah, absolutely.
Did I tell you guys about the
Free
giant
pass.
Yeti thing? The giant like Sasquatch?
No.
Oh, giant Sasquatch.
I can't.
No,
tell
I don't
you
think so.
if it's being
But you said
serious.
no. You said giant Yeti, and I was thinking cup. 'cause
Yeah, I did
you know,
too. And I was like,
No,
oh, I
so-
remember you.
but then you
talking about
clarified
like a tumbler.
Sasquatch.
Not like
No.
a Sasquatch. All right, so I was over down the hall taking a piss, and someone from the painter's office just started like shouting, "Laser guy! Hey, laser guy!" I was like, "I'll be right out." So I like wrapped it up, zipped it up, and then I went over there. And I'm telling the story from my perspective, okay? It was weird. It was a weird experience. I don't want people yelling laser guy at me while I'm taking a piss. I went over to the painter's office, and there's this kid there. His name was Chewy, and he had this like 9-foot long plywood board. Like really, it was like 9x4. It was massive. And he's like, I want you to cut a Sasquatch out of this.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, well, I can't. First of all, like, because he wants it like the full size of this piece of wood.
Print and cut, dog. Print and
Well,
cut.
He doesn't have
Print and
pass
cut.
through,
Yeah, I don't pass through
that
on the
sucks.
Mira, and the
so
Omtex
it wouldn't
is
be one
small.
solid piece.
Sorry.
So I told him, I was like, if you have another one of these, what I can do is cut out like either we can do like a stencil. So I'll cut like 4 or 5 pieces as big as that Yeti can go, and then you can stack them all up on top of another full sheet and like trace it and cut it out yourself. Or you can put like a back brace on it. He wants to like put it in his yard. So I was like, you put a back brace on it and just like stand
Put
it
like
up
a
like
piece
that.
of pressure treated 2x4 behind
Yeah,
it.
whatever, dude. Like
Cut
once
it
it's
into a
painted, like
stake.
it won't matter. And he was like, fine. So he just agreed to that. So I guess I'm gonna do that. I still don't really know what he's gonna do with it, or like what the final plan. I don't know if he's gonna like use it as a stencil.
He's like,
or
I need this
put it all
for
together.
Easter. Get this done.
I've
As
had
a
it for
member
like
of the Bigfoot hunting community, I think it'd be an awesome thing for you to do that.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. He picked one out too. He showed me. He didn't have like a specific one in mind, but it's just like the Sasquatch like flipping you off while it's walking by. I'm sure you can picture it.
Mhm. They have them all. There's so many people out here with that in their yards. in
Yeah,
Iowa.
totally.
It's hilarious.
So that's a
Charles
yellback.
says,
Hey,
"Hey,
painter
painter
guy.
guy."
So
Paint this. Whoa. No.
is Chewy Hispanic? Is it?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every dude I've ever met named Chewy was Latino, so I was just curious.
He is the most Latino. In
The most.
in the beginning of Men in Black, when they're like crossing the border and the alien is holding the torso on the stick of like the old Latino guy with the big mustache. It was like that guy if he was like 16. It's really weird. It's like very specific, but that was the first thing I thought of when I saw him. I was like, you look like that guy from Men
Can
in
you
Black.
imagine? Let's just like with that in mind, you're in the bathroom, you're taking a leak, some dude's yelling at you, you bust out, and it's the Men in Black guy saying, "I need a Sasquatch cut from a piece of wood."
It's basically the story. That's why
Was
it's
this
weird.
a fever dream while you were sick or what?
Nah.
I think that you might have explosive or implosive diarrhea. I think you were right to start. Your brain is just having
Implosive brain diarrhea.
diarrhea.
Anyway, I took it a week ago and I still haven't done it because I want to make a video, and I was like, this will make a cool quick video, but it's never a quick video. It's gonna end up being like a fucking giant 8-part 3-hour episode.
It's gonna
I'm
be
really
another
bad
one of
at
those.
that.
messed up
And you got to
videos
cut
where
the
it's
wood
guys,
down to size too.
So
When
you
I
can
told-
still technically use print and cut though, right? Like you just do it without the pass through. Like you just like
Yeah, I
chop
could,
it into
but then
sections
what's the
and-
You
point? Like, I
segment it.
might as well as cut it up in like Illustrator using booleans and just
true.
do
I mean, you
4
can-
separate cuts.
You
Like,
can
why?
do that in LightBurn. You don't even need Illustrator.
You don't even need Illustrator. Yeah.
Okay.
Good
How
point.
about you use a projector and just trace it with a marker, and then use a jigsaw? Call it a day.
Great. I'll do that. Yeah.
A laser
That's why I'd be like,
jigsaw.
hey guys, we're gonna teach you how to use other tools from our shop, because you got like all those really cool new shop tools.
I do, but I don't want to do all that work for him, especially if it doesn't involve a laser and I
Listen.
can't film it.
You're a laser guy. Like, do it.
Yeah, I'm
Just
a
be like,
laser guy and I don't have a flatbed with pass through.
Does your
So
jigsaw have a laser pointer on it? Can you
No,
tape one to it?
no, I'm not that rich. We don't have that kind of money. Go sign up for the LMA, masters.lasereverything.net. Give me a jigsaw with a laser.
I need jigsaws with
We need
lasers
that.
on their foreheads.
ASAP.
All right. Anyway, that's my weird story. Maybe you guys will see that. Maybe you won't. We'll decide later.
What a weird story.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Anthony and I have like normal human lives. Kyle, same thing. Alex, just living his.
I want to see laser freaking Sasquatch, dude. That's
Well, yeah, I know.
like, yeah.
I want to do it too. I just don't know how I'm going to make it engaging enough for people to actually click it. So I got to think about it. We'll talk about it after the show. We just passed 30 minutes. Kyle, you know what that means?
Have Rhiannon wear a Sasquatch suit while you're doing the laser engraving, cutting.
Go sign up for the LMA so I can afford a Sasquatch suit. Masters.lasereverything.net.
No, wear a Dr. Evil cosplay, and we're going to get you a laser shark.
Okay.
There you go. Also, final call for anybody with questions. Get them into chat.
Q&A.
We're gonna be diving into Q&A now.
You don't want to end up on the lightning round, because
behind it.
We always feel like we don't have enough questions, and then we get to like 5 minutes before the show's over. There's
and
like
we're trying
50
to smash through them,
getting dropped, and then you get your question poorly answered. So get your question answered well.
I think people zone out while we BS for the first half hour, and then like 20 minutes into our answering, where it's like, all right, guys, so we only have 5 minutes left before the end of the show. They're like, gotta get the Q&A.
They're plotting out how they too can kind of laser Sasquatch.
If you come for the banter and you appreciate the Q&A as an afterthought, put one in the chat. Cuban says, by the way, I got a class where I have to teach some software of my choosing, and I'm picking LightBurn and referencing you guys and your guides. That's cool, man. Have at it.
You'll get
who are you teaching LightBurn to? Just like a classroom full of stupid kids? Oh God.
No, like college people. You got to teach something. It's like a skills class.
What are other people teaching? Like Word?
Probably
Who's the kid that picked fucking Microsoft Word? I want to punch that kid.
MS Paint.
Somebody did.
The snippet tool.
It's Clippy. I'm going to teach you guys how to utilize Clippy for your day-to-day productivity.
Nice.
All right. So here's a good technical one.
Oh man.
S. Dunsmore says, what's the difference between an M7 100-watt MOPA and an M8 50-watt MOPA fiber? Both are JPT.
About $1,000.
The wattage output is the key difference there. Yeah, the M7 series and the M8 series have different frequency ranges. For two, your what is it? Your pulse energy is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the E series is 1 point. No, I don't know what the E series. I didn't know. Is there an E series 100-watt?
Yeah, they're all on E series.
No.
1.5 millijoule.
Nowadays, it's a YDFOP E2 100.
Those aren't 2 millijoules, though. No,
they're
they have to be at
1.5, I think.
At 100 watts?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I
believe C series were 2.
Yeah. But there wasn't a C series 100 watt.
I'm going to have to take your word for it, because I didn't even know there was an E series 100 watt. I thought there was only C.
I don't think there's a C series 100 watt.
Yes, there is.
I haven't seen them.
Now
I don't think they make them anymore.
Go ahead, continue.
If they do, it's not on their site anymore. Anyways, Anthony, did you have any other details on that? Because I know you did.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because YouTuber, Facebooker guy got the 50-watt M8 not too long ago, and I have this thing in my head where if I don't know enough about something, I spend 18 hours researching it. So fundamentally, a M7 versus an M8 laser operate in very different ways. The M8 has... So the M7 was developed, I don't know, like maybe a dozen or so years ago. And we'll call it 12 years ago, diode technology and semiconductor technology altogether were in a very different place than it is now. So in 2021, JPT came out with this M8 series, and the M8 uses a lot newer, I think, technology in like the process of developing the laser beam. It has a higher initial energy density. So each pulse that laser makes generates more energy, but it makes fewer pulses, which is why what Kyle said about it having like a lower frequency. It doesn't need as many pulses per second to make that 50 watts. So like the dynamics of the beam are way different. And so it's not really apples to apples. It's apples to oranges really, because the way a M7 makes its energy and delivers it is going to be radically different from the way an M8 makes its energy and delivers it. It's not like one is like a newer version of the other. I think we've gone over that numerous times.
They both just have different use case.
Yeah, different use cases, different applications of the power. One of the benefits, I guess, to the M8 is that the higher energy density means that it's actually doing more ablation per pulse. So you don't get as much heat absorption because it's vaporizing more material as it's hitting it. And so like not as much heat builds up inside the material. So it's not what you'd call a cold laser, but it's something that you could do a deep engrave and maybe handle the thing.
Would that be better for like things with high reflectivity too?
I would imagine
like it, right?
Probably. I don't know. I'd have to really.
Since we're just kind of like shooting out things that it could do and couldn't do. That's
anything I've read into. I wouldn't be able to make that claim confidently yet, and we certainly haven't tried it ourselves either. But
yeah,
one
like
thing
I wouldn't make a $5,000 or $10,000 investment on a guess.
Well, and that's what Money Watcher said. You're going to be pretty much all alone, and there will be people who use it. But they might not be someone who shares, or they might be difficult to find, or they don't maybe I did all my work. F you, I don't want to help
for
you.
Something that's been on the market for 4 years, there is a like alarmingly low amount of information on the M8 series lasers. Like you can Google search for days and you're not going to find much of anything.
Because people aren't buying them.
Yeah. I think the biggest application for M8 is going to be in an industrial standpoint. Like places are using 200 watt liquid cooled solutions to cut holes in glass. And that's one of the major things is like the M8, if you get a high enough wattage, is very good for some because of its high pulse energy. It can
where
do glass
typically
well.
it would just pass through the glass and hit whatever's on.
And by the way, not really from what I've heard from and read on people's posts, engraving glass, not so great. UV is still better, but cutting glass, yes. So
this question isn't he is talking about the M8.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a 50 watt now. I didn't even know.
There's a 20 watt, 30, a 50, an 80, and 100. I think.
For the record, there was a C series 100 watt JPT fiber laser.
They just don't make it anymore.
They don't make it anymore.
I think it was only for like 2 years that was like.
Also, its maximum pulse energy was also 1.5 millijoules, like the E.
All right.
So
it was.
All right.
Yeah. So that was a generational thing then.
But,
yeah, with the M8s too, the glass cutting stuff, I know there's not a ton of info out there, but from the couple of marketing people I've talked to at different companies, generally speaking, you would be at like 100 watts or 200 watts if you're doing that with an M8 source.
Can we all agree this guy doesn't need an M8? M7.
You'd be getting more for your money with the M7 right now, especially if the prices between those two are similar. I would still go with the M7.
Because at the end of the day, you're looking at no matter how the pulse energy is delivered, you're getting a 100 watt machine for significantly less than you're getting a 50 watt machine. So, the wattage is calculated by the amount of pulse energy delivered within a time frame. So one of them is going to give you 100 watts in the same time frame that the other machine is going to give you 50. So, I mean, you might as well go with the advantage of having the additional power, in my opinion.
Additionally, I think the thing that I said last time this question was answered was that the M8 is not the iPhone 14 to the M7's iPhone 13. It is not a successor. It's not
It's the same
one.
zone.
It's not. Yeah, it's not one higher number because it's a newer one that you aren't getting for some reason. That's
They're
not
two
how this
different
works.
branch models,
They're
basically.
separate products for separate things. And if you're asking this question, you're not doing the things that you need an M8 for. So
Yeah.
I would just forget about it, honestly. The M7 is
If you're wanting a
very
fiber
likely what you
laser,
need.
go the M7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
And I need to
That's a good
step
one,
away for a second, but discuss this.
I don't know. I'm a big Chris Cornell fan, and I listened to Black Hole Sun too many times this weekend, is what I told Bunny Washer. So.
I think that we've made it abundantly clear that that is a live still of one of my bowel movements.
After you eat hot Cheetos.
No, dude, that's the high density, right?
Oh, okay. All right. It's just collapsing it in.
The neutron star.
Light is trying to escape, and it's like, not today.
On the other end is infinite nothingness.
Right. True. Also accurate.
All right. Who's got the? I can't click buttons anymore with quotes. Who's got it?
I don't know. Kyle went away, and I haven't been keeping up on it.
I just got back. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Quick question from DeMarco. Of course we have time. How do you decide whether or not to alter speed versus altering power, provided you're not maxed out on either?
What are you trying to do? What's the goal?
So, like, if you're tuning a setting, I imagine. So let's say,
I wouldn't change a setting unless something was going wrong, and I feel like what it is that is going wrong would change my answer to this question. Like, what am I seeing that I don't like, that I feel like I need to make a change in the first place?
If this is who I think it is, they've asked a lot of questions like about deep engraving with fiber and lasers. So I think maybe they're looking for not necessarily better results, but possibly faster results. So would you lower the speed and keep the power the same, or maybe advance the speed?
So here's my thing is to answer this is like sandpaper, right? And I've talked about this before on the show. So when you think about sandpaper, if you're using grit, right? Grit would be like your power, I guess. It'd be kind of like how hard you're pushing. And the speed would just be, I mean, you get it, right? You got me, Anthony. There you go. So my thing is when I've been working on stuff, so thinking about like a cleanup pass, you should only be changing one thing at a time is the first part of the answer.
Absolutely.
So if you are like, this looks rough, but I really want to clean it up some, I wouldn't touch the power. I would just take the speed and I would basically up it by 50%, right? If I'm not maxed out. And then by doing that, you're hitting it the same, but because you're spreading out that power over less time because it's being sped up, so it's less time on that point, it's still doing the same job, but at a quicker speed. So then if I was trying to dig deeper, then I would change the power and keep the speed the same. Does that make sense? So basically just doing this with a piece of sandpaper is going to get you the same result. If I sped up with the sandpaper is still the same, right? But like the grit is still the same, but doing this means you're not going to have as much depth. So speed increased means less depth. And if I was trying to get more depth by decreasing the speed or by heightening the power by grinding against that surface, you're ablating more quicker. But you're also delivering a lot more heat. So think about that too, literally just like with sandpaper. I mean, you can like feel the heat when you're using sandpaper, like that thin stuff. So if you're trying to think about this in a way that's tangible and concrete, that would be the best way to do it. It's just like using anything. It's going to be taking off layers. So
yeah, but that's not all sunshines and smiles either. Like Kyle just went over with Max in his training episode. You can keep cranking up the power or keep cranking up the speed, but the faster you go and the more power you put into it to get the job done faster, you're going to get diminishing results as far as final engraved quality goes. So
especially if you haven't done your timing and delays, if you're just cranking the speed and you haven't done, okay, you can do the base tuning for timing and delay at a certain speed, but the problem is when you start cranking the speed well above where you've tuned and you don't have an override delay in timing for that setting at that speed that you've tested,
Yeah.
Your timings and delays are tuned at 1,000 millimeters a second, for example. If you're engraving at 4,000 millimeters per second, your timings and delays are useless for that speed. And you're now starting and ending lines at inappropriate times as far as your output's concerned, but your laser thinks it's spot on. So you're going to end up with a rougher final result if you're not tuning everything the way it should be.
And that's not even getting into like splash damage and heat affected zones that you're introducing by continuing to raise the power that way.
Reflectivity, depth of field as you go down deeper too. Like if you really are going for like depth, changing a millimeter can make a big difference in what you're doing with the speed and the same power. Like it just diminishes, like Alex said. So a lot of things.
For sure.
Yeah. What is you can have it fast, you can have it cheap,
or you can have it good.
I mean, that kind of
two or three of them are
that
true.
kind of applies directly to
a lot of laser stuff.
Marking. Like, exactly. Yeah. You can do it. You can do it real fast, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. It'll be the depth you wanted it, but the final quality isn't necessarily going to be there. So it's a balancing act. It's all a balancing act. It's always been a balancing act. And that's why I was so hesitant to answer the question in the first place, because really I feel like you need to address specific symptoms that you're trying to band-aid rather than just being like, I want this to go faster. Like, what about it specifically right now is not good enough? And then make adjustments to like try to overcome that specific thing.
And this is where laser test material grids come in so handy, because when you've narrowed it down to, okay, I know it's between 15% and 18% is where I need to be. Now I need to see what speeds I can do. Then once you get the speed and that done, mess with frequency, because frequency can like completely change the whole game. So, and you might like, that's how I found out how to put white on brass. Like I literally was sitting there one day and I was like trying to do a dark mark, and then I changed the frequency high and it made white on black or white on brass. And I was like, okay, great, done. Gonna put that in there.
Accident
for science.
Happy accidents.
Yep. Keep us rolling, Kyle.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for the question. That was good. We got Bunny Washer question. UV settings for the LMA website says coming March 2025 updates.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Well, could you go first, Kyle, and then I'll say why I haven't done my job.
Yeah. So, long story short, the settings list that we've been testing, or I've been testing at least, has grown exponentially. I have 4 more things that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm adding to the parameter library. And at least in my mind, I don't think there would be a problem posting mine. But then we're also duplicating that for other sources that we have available to us for testing as well.
Yeah.
So right now I'm the delay.
Well,
in the process.
I'm also the delay because Rhiannon was gone for a week. She went to California. Then she came back and she was sick for like half a week. And then she was here for a week. We caught up on a bunch of stuff video-wise and channel-wise. And now she's gone for a week again. And then she's back, and she'll be back for a long stint. But that was like kind of something that I shoved off on her. It was like work on the UV library and report back. And she just hasn't been here. So I kind of misjudged that. My bad. I have to keep doing like channel stuff and LMA stuff and Patreon stuff. But she'll be back at the end of the week, and then we can kind of get that rolling. We also, Kyle and I plan to do cross conversion of settings. So I want to take Kyle's list. Kyle's going to take my list, and we're going to kind of cross reference what the other has come up with and test with inverted pulse widths to see if we can recreate what the other person's getting. And I'd really like that, because if it works both ways, I feel like that's the final green check mark that a setting needs to kind of be added to the final list. And we want to pre-convert a bunch of them, which should be easier than general, because we don't have to deal with as extreme a dot size change as we normally would.
If you change from like a 110 to like a 150 or 200 lens on a UV. It's not like the massive change on a fiber or a CO2. It's
right. So
you're going from like 1200 DPI to like 1100 DPI.
So
You
we
won't see
really
the
only
difference.
need to deal with like wattage differences, and that'll be fairly straightforward, I think. So really, it's the source to source rather than the lens to lens that's causing delays and making things difficult. But it's all something that we can overcome for sure, and we are working on, especially Kyle. Kyle's put in a substantial amount of effort into this, and that's good because he is the source that most people have. So you'll see it. I haven't forgotten. I think about it every day when I log into my dashboard and look at the things that I need to do. And I have every intention of pulling that out, Bunny.
The
But
other factor,
Bunny's been here long enough.
Yeah. The other factor that I'll go ahead and throw in is I wasn't really expecting to be moving either.
True. Yeah.
And that's been sucking up a significant amount of my time setting up stuff for a shop that I can't share yet. So just life on my end is creating barriers to timing on that. That's not really Alex's fault either. So
it is coming. It's a very, very high priority for all of us, and it's not going to be abandonware. That's definitely happening for sure.
Yep. This is a two-parter. I gotta click between. Fleet Ready Gaming. I just recently got LightBurn, and there's so much to learn compared to EasyCAD 2. I mainly work with engraving vector artwork to where I'm filling in geometry that I have sometimes 100 pieces. Is it possible to fill in vector geometry like EasyCAD 2? I think you mean visually, because you can fill in LightBurn. You just change the layer type from line to fill, or you could do offset fill if you really want to, but that's just a different beast entirely. Go to your... actually, I'll just show you.
I think it's under window. Under window, and then it has like... yeah, you can pull it.
Oh, are they just asking about the fill rendering?
Maybe. I'm not quite sure.
If you go into LightBurn settings, okay.
I got it.
Kyle's
Present,
on it.
Share.
I thought this was going to be a much more complicated question.
Hell no. We got this. Wham. Okay. Here's my LightBurn. This is an old version because I was testing something. So if we go to LightBurn settings, where the gear up here at the top, you want filled rendering, but that's slower. Slower just means graphically it's going to be more demanding on the computer. So if you have a performance-based problem where LightBurn is crap in the bed and your computer is just crawling on its knees begging for dear life, you can turn that off again and it'll cut the load. But that's how you turn that on. And then when you make a shape, woo, it's filled. And then if I
turn
set
it off
to
again,
line, yeah. I have a second layer on here. Hold on. So if I set this to line mode, not filled, but by default, filled rendering is turned off. And so no matter if you have it set to fill or line, it's going to look like this unless you have filled rendering turned on.
Do it. Do it right now. Show them.
Wham. One thing to factor into on the newer versions of LightBurn, they changed the way this menu is organized. So you have to go to the display and graphics like tab on the top, and then you'll see filled rendering.
Can you check filled rendering again, Kyle, and turn it off so they can see?
Yeah.
Like,
so here's it off.
Yeah.
And now
see, it's still filled, right? Yeah, that's the key. So it is filled. It will engrave filled like this. You just can't see it.
So if I go to preview, it's filling it. But it's not visually filled.
Right.
So there's how you fix that.
I've always gone up to window, and then it has the option where you can go fill coarse, filled smooth. And that's why I always do it. But yeah, I didn't know you could do it through that free screen.
All right, cool.
I
We
can't
have
stand
5
not
minutes
having
left.
that on because visually
It
I need
is-
that. But
Yeah, me too.
I'm-
I can't imagine. It's not
5
there.
minutes left. Time for lightning round.
Oh, lightning round.
Lee says, "What's the worst laser job you ever took on that you wished you had never taken on?" That's a really, really good question, and I think I might know what Alex's answer is.
Are you
But go
thinking
ahead.
the cultured marble? Because that was the first thing that came to my mind. But I can think of worse things. I think
And that was done
A
on a
lot of
live
it-
stream.
I think a lot of it comes from the perspective of a YouTuber that is also a laser engraver. I've done a lot of jobs where I've signed NDAs that I obviously can't talk about that were just like huge time sucks that I didn't make a lot of money and I couldn't even make content out of it. You know, like I wasn't even allowed to point a camera at it while I was trying to get my YouTube channel going. And I have a lot of regrets about accepting those jobs, but
Yeah.
they don't make very good stories because I signed an NDA. So, yeah, the cultured marble, man. I don't even think it's labeled cultured marble on the channel, but old live streams, dude, go watch them. Especially if you're on the LMA, they're easily organized and a lot easier to find than if you're just hunting on YouTube. But
I would say for me, it's any job where when I first got going, I was trying to pay off the lasers and stuff like that. And I would put myself under these immense pressure situations because I bought the thing to make money. This is a chance to make money, make the money. And I know this sounds like a cop-out answer, but it wasn't one job. It was literally, sometimes it was like 2 cups, but they needed them the next day. And then it was like another time it was like 3 of this, but they just needed it 2 days from now. But then they didn't know what font they wanted. And so basically not knowing any job where I didn't know the customer and I didn't know what they wanted specifically before they left. And it was always because of me not doing the due diligence to have every answer that I needed to do the job quickly. Because those 2 cups, 20 minutes worth of work, but it was like 3 hours of waiting and 4 hours of texting. And then they weren't sure. And then they're like, well, wait a minute, did I spell the name right? And you're like, I don't know if you spelled the name right. It's your cup. Well, let me check on that. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I still need them though tomorrow. Okay. So that would be my answer. Time sucks that shouldn't have existed because I let them exist.
I feel like those type of things are really good learning experiences anyway, too, right? Because that's the type of thing I feel like maybe before Alex had like an order form that they would fill out, right? It's like half of the things on that sheet were like maybe things that you forgot to get from the customer and you had to call them or you had to wait for them to call back or something like that. Am I right on that, Alex?
Yeah, dude.
Everything's a learning
the
experience.
worst is like half of that stuff wouldn't be gotten from the customer, but you'd call back and get 1. But then you need to call back and get 2, and then you need to call back and get 3. And when they compound, like that was the worst for sure. Yep. All right, lightning round.
In short,
a toss up between the guitar I did on Michael's channel for the Halloween episodes, and this lady brought in this like stock pot that was like enameled steel, and I was like, sure, I can do that because that's what I say to everybody, but I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and it turned out slightly less than mediocre. But she was happy with it, so hey, you know.
Did the enamel make forbidden cotton candy?
It was a nightmare. Yeah.
All right, I know my specific answer because it kind of goes with what you said. There was a wedding that they needed something by Friday. It was hammers that were being delivered on Wednesday from Amazon. They got them delivered to my house. I had no clue. I mean, I knew they were laser safe, but I didn't know anything about them. So when I peeled them open, they all had some kind of a coating on it. But the problem was the coating thickness and also like what it did because I needed the fiber laser to do it. And so it had like some kind of a thin thing. And basically it all came out, like you said, mediocre, where like when the guy saw them, he was like, these are incredible. And I'm just sitting there going like, I would never give these to anybody.
Yeah.
And I told him that. I said, man, I want to charge you half. And he's like, no, like these are amazing. And I was like, regrettably taking his money. Yep. It felt bad.
Yep.
All right. Bring us home, Kyle.
Mine would be kind of in the same vein where I don't have a specific one I don't like because I'm weird and I like jobs that most people don't like. Like I like technical drawing stuff where I have to put certain things next to other certain things that already exist, and I like mapping out 3D spaces like that.
Yeah.
And I'm weird, but so like if you want a panel that you need to rebuild a plane or something, and you need like labels perfectly laid out for a, I don't know, like a video game cockpit you're building for an emulator or something. Like, I love that kind of weird crap. And I've helped a bunch of people make that kind of stuff. But the stuff I don't like is like when people pop up out of nowhere and they're like, hey, I need this. And I'm like, cool, I can get to this in like 4 or 5 days. And they're like, oh, but I need it like for tomorrow morning. And I'm like, really? You're killing me. That's the kind of stuff I hate. So it's not necessarily like a specific job. It's like a circumstance around the job.
Yeah.
Like, cool, it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to do this right now. But yeah. And what Bunny Washer said. No laser for you. Come back one year.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a really good question. Thanks for that.
It was. Frosty Pine Labs. My Quick G2 laser just died. It's not marking or engraving. Did you start this, Kyle?
It's just marking, not engraving. Yeah. I did start it. What I was going to say to that is if you're using the stupid red dots to get focus, there's a pretty high likelihood that you bumped one of them and you're just not in focus. As you focus, you're going down into the focal area and then you exit past it, depending on if you're above or below your focal point. So try moving the whole laser head up or down, either closer or further from the material, and see if it starts actually engraving instead of just surface marking. It could very well be just that you're not focused. That I've seen far too many times to count. And if
that
not,
doesn't work,
make a forum post. Yeah, make a forum post too, because we can also chat through more troubleshooting on that. Mark says, fiber laser lenses. I have an OPEX 110 currently on my JPT 50 watt, and I want to get a 2 and 300. Where's a good place to get them for a good price? We actually have links for this in the buying guide. We have Amazon links. Amazon's decent if you don't need like quartz lenses, and at 50 watts, you're perfectly fine getting a normal like K9 lens. Wavetop sign on Alibaba or AliExpress is great.
That's still my number one pick.
Yeah.
Wavetop sounds good. Yep.
I like Amazon because I like having my lens in 1 or 2 days instead of like 8 or 9 and then waiting for customs to fucking juggle.
In today's environment.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Something stateside.
I like, so I wait, hold on. This is my just little lightning add-in, but I like Wavetop sign for a specific reason. When I order lenses from Cloud Ray, I get like, if I get like, and I have like 100 lenses, I'll get like 5 lenses all at once, all in a row. And it'll be just a bunch of different sizes of the same exact lens. And all 5 of them look completely different. Like they came out of different factories or different years or whatever from the same factory. The ones from Wavetop sign always look like they belong to like a nice set of lenses. Yeah. And for whatever reason, that makes me feel better about using them. There might be 0 sense in that. I don't know. But that's why I really, really still like Wavetop sign. There's the consistency of the actual lenses, I feel like, is better.
Well, they're like an actual laser lens manufacturer, right?
No, Wavetop. I mean, there's like 2 companies in the world that make F-Theta lens, but they source their stuff directly from them. And I don't want to make my guesses sound like facts because they're not, but I feel like they do a better job making sure that they're sourcing things from the most recent batches of those produced optics. So, but that's a whole different.
They curate and source their stuff for. They're essentially a marketplace seller.
Yeah,
but they are a market. Think of it that way.
Anyway, that's why I like Wavetop. There is, in my opinion, a bonus to waiting the time, but neither here nor there. Lightning round.
So long story short, go to the buying guide. We have links to getting lenses on Amazon, on Alibaba, AliExpress, CloudRay, and I think there's one or two more in there. One thing that you'll need probably is a spacer. And I like having a spacer for each one of my lenses because I'm OCD like that. But to each their own. Maybe you don't need it, but if you have an OPEX lens, there's a very high likelihood that your spacer is built into the lens. And if you get a K9 one, you will just need to buy a $20 spacer, which we have a link to on the buying guide as well.
We do.
And the Laser Nerd says, I'm surprised Laser Everything isn't at ISA this week. We all have stuff going on, man.
The last time that I went to a thing, because I was like, I'm going to make content out of this, it was LBX. And I spent the money that I should have spent on a down payment on a house, preparing a multi-day live streaming event that went horribly, technically, and that nobody watched. And so now I'm still, to this day, salty that I have a failed live stream weekend instead of a house. So we don't do live stream like travel content anymore. Maybe if there was like an uproar from our community about people wanting travel content, I would go back to doing it, but it's just so fucking expensive and it does so little for the channel compared to other content that it's really hard to justify. So that's why I'm not there personally right now.
Yeah. I'm not there because I bought a house and I'm in the middle of moving and also rebuilding a shop while also trying to fix my current shop and work.
All right, last one. Let's wrap it up.
Discord link isn't fully working, gets me to the invite, but then says, whoops, when trying to get in.
Discord, we lost a bunch of our boosters, mostly because I was paying for them all and we're poor. So when we de-boosted the Laser Everything server, it took away our fancy URL, the I think it's discord.gg/laser everything. So now we only excuse me. So now we only get the kind of like basic random character invite links, and a lot of the old discord.gg/laser everything Discord links haven't been replaced yet in various places, whether that's YouTube comments or site links or whatever. So I'm still fixing that. I will make a point after this video is over, after the live stream ends, to go into the description of this video and make sure a valid link is placed there while the other ones are being repaired. So just keep an eye out after the video, and you should have a working link.
Yeah. And last question.
Oh my goodness.
Tablo says, hey, I laser river stones and would like to use cylinder correction in LightBurn, just one direction, not dome. How the hell do I find the radius of the stone, though? I personally wouldn't. I would just mark it, because unless you're doing a stone that's like 300 millimeters wide and has like a wicked arch to it, you're probably not going to see the difference if you're using cylinder correction or not on something that small.
Yeah, cylinder corrections for cylinders.
I was gonna say you could use a larger lens than the size of what it is you're trying to engrave. So thinking about this, like, you know, the hourglass shape, basically by having that larger depth of field, you'll be able to project your mark a little further without any warping. And that's where you can kind of find, like with riverstones, you can always get things that are similar in size and shape and all that kind of stuff, and basically kind of find your parameters that way. But yeah, I agree with what they said. But by giving yourself, like, instead of 100 or a 110, you could go up to a 200 or like a 150 if you've got that, and you could get some give yourself a little bit of clear shaping for those kind of things. Because I've actually done a few of those stones and put QR codes and stuff into stones for a park that was nearby, and I ended up using the 200 and got some really good markings that were about 50 to 60 millimeters wide on stones that kind of slowly sloped out. So
if you want to do the pro gamer move and you're a pro gamer, try just simply reducing the width or height, I guess, if you're concerned about this, but try reducing the width of your graphic 5 to 15%. There's some risk in that. It's a guess, kind of an eyeball gut feeling thing, but in general, I've found that range typically outputs good results when trying to compensate for a curve, especially in situations where you don't have access to cylinder correction. That was my go-to in EasyCAD. 5 to 15%. Doesn't sound like a lot. It's not going to look like a lot on the screen, but it's usually enough to like get circles to be circles again. There's math you can do for it that I don't remember off the top of my head because it's trig and I'd rather off myself than do trig. So I don't have the specific math answer, but 5 to 15% generally works good. So try that. All right. I think that we are wrapped up. We're only 10 minutes over. Woo! It's a fair lightning round. I sound like shit. I really don't want to talk anymore. Could somebody else close the show?
I got this.
All right. Kyle's got it. Kyle's feeling good.
So if you're here and you're live, smash the like button. And when the stream ends, hit the refresh button and leave a comment down below on what your least favorite job you've ever done is.
Good one. Nice.
And if you would do something different in the future, include that too. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified the next time we do a live stream. We're here every week, pretty much every Tuesday at 9:00, unless we say otherwise. And if you haven't joined any of our communities yet on the Discord, the Facebook, or the LMA, if you want to support us, links to that are down in the description below. And if you're listening to us on any of your podcast services that you listen to, leave us a review. We'd love it if you left us a 5-star review, and you could just I don't know, say what your favorite laser is. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and thanks again to Johnson Plastics for sponsoring this video. And if you want to save 15% on your order, use code YLR-ZDF. And if that changes, it'll be in the description, like always, so we can hook you up with some savings. And we'll see you in the next one.
Kyle and Anthony have links in the description to their stores where they sell stuff related to laser engraving. And the show will be at 9:00 unless Matt gets hit by a bus and stops coming. So as long as Matt keeps showing up to the show, we'll keep being at 9. Thank you, guys. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Where can I buy a bus?